Whether you're Alex Honnold free solo climbing one of the most prolific faces of rock known to man, Rodrigo Coxa surfing waves the size of a city block, Elio Capoge redefining what's possible for human legs, Lindsey Vonn downhill skiing 80 miles per hour to her way to an Olympic gold medal, or Danny Gevirtz finishing up a video for his YouTube followers.
And we all have one simple thing in common:
flow.
If you've ever felt like you were in the zone, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's when you're most focused, most productive, and most creative, all while the outside world and time just starts to fade away.
This superhuman-like condition is what researchers like Steven Kotler describe as a state of flow. It's coined as an optimal state of consciousness where we feel our best and perform our best.
In any increase in performance that you're going to see, you're going to also find an increase in flow state. And it's not just something that's relevant for Olympians.
McKinsey's study shows that top executives in flow are 5 times more productive than out of flow.
If this is the first time that someone's introducing the idea of flow to you, then for you it probably seems a little far-fetched. Flow is actually really quite simple to understand.
So what is flow? You've probably heard the myth that we only use 10% of our brain at any given time. But then that suggests that in order for us to tap into this superhuman flow-like state, we would have to access more of our brain. Wrong. The truth is that flow actually kicks in when we're requiring less of the brain's energy. Think of your brain as like a computer. Computers only have so much processing power known as RAM to run different applications or uses at one time. When you have all of your applications opened at once, your computer runs slower. But when you close out all of these programs and work on one program, your computer is able to operate faster at its full processing potential. While in flow, your brain is shutting off what's unnecessary so that you're able to just focus on one thing. You're able to enter the deep now, the feeling of time passing without you knowing, because the part of the brain that is unconsciously keeping track of time shuts down. Your anxiety vanishes, your doubt creeps away. Every screaming problem posed onto you by the world is silenced. Neurochemicals such as dopamine are released at this point, which depending on the task at hand, you experience an increase in strength, dead end of pain, increase in reaction time.
And most importantly for you at home, an increase in creativity.
In flow, your brain is able to more efficiently connect old ideas to new ideas, take in more information, pay more attention to that information, find faster connections to other ideas, and then uncover further flung connections to be paired with those ideas.
And the very best part of all of this is that flow is hackable.
So how do we enter flow? Nothing is more daunting than writing the first sentence of a script or a blank timeline in Adobe Premiere. In these moments of resistance where we'd rather do legitimately anything else than get started and be productive, how can we access flow to our advantage? Researchers have come up with a long list of flow triggers, things that have proven to spark a person's ability to enter a flow state. And here are some of the triggers that I have found to personally work best for me. The first one is risk. For Alex Honnold, Lindsey Vonn, and Rodrigo Coxa, they experience risk at a totally new level. Split-second decisions that force them into hyper-focusing because it can be the difference between life and death. Now, most of us aren't shredding pipeline on a daily basis. So risk for someone like me and you could be something as simple as reaching out to someone that we've been wanting to reach out to for the first time, pushing ourselves in a workout harder than we thought we could possibly push ourselves, or even me right here sharing my life and my personal beliefs with all of you in the face of potential judgment. The next flow trigger that I want to talk about is the one that I find to be the most useful, and that is novelty. If you've ever traveled to a new city or country, you've been fascinated by every street, building, and person there. It's new to you, so you're able to be more mindful in your experience in these places. It can be something as simple as working out of a new space, putting on a Netflix documentary that offers something new and valuable for you to learn, or even me when I decide to move my couch to face the window when I'm working on my laptop, because that feels new and exciting for me. The next one is pattern recognition. So if you've ever been stuck trying to write something, I found it incredibly useful for me to just write whatever comes out of the top of my mind. No judgment, doesn't matter what it's about, just writing. Your brain will start to recognize the thought processes of writing ideas, and that pattern recognition can trigger flow. Even though there's plenty more, the last trigger that I want to just touch on is having a clear goal. If you've ever seen my videos before, you know that I like to make checklists to make sure that I go into the next day having a clear goal of what I want to be doing that day. Knowing that I've already determined what I want to achieve that day, it's much easier for me to get right into work rather than creating the extra trip in my mind of, well, what should I do now? And have all the options in the world fighting for my attention. Now just be mindful that these triggers are habits, and habits don't just develop overnight. They take practice and consistency for you to implement into your actual life. Protecting your flow.
And now that we've been able to reach a state of flow, it's so necessary for us to now protect it.
The world will do whatever it takes to interrupt your state of flow. Most of us experience difficulty finding flow when we need it most because we are so distracted by the people and things around us. Now, I take my work very seriously because when I'm productive and I'm creating things that I love, that is when I'm at my most happiness. And if I'm not able to do that, I get frustrated and sometimes depressed. And I know many of you probably feel the same way. So here are some things that I do in order to protect my flow. The first thing is blocking. I've talked about this before in my day in the life video that I had made. And in that video, I talked about how I block off 2-3 hour periods where I do nothing but focus solely on work during those times. Doing this promotes times in the day where I'm able to give myself the opportunity to enter a flow state. It's not always successful, but at least I give myself a fighting chance. And then during those times, there's a few things that I do to protect that time and make sure I don't get distracted. The very most important thing is to get rid of your phone. Every email, text, call is another problem that your brain tries to solve. Take your phone, turn it off, walk it into another room, open a drawer, put it in the drawer. If you work on a computer, make sure you turn off all push notifications that get sent for your phone to your computer and kill your Wi-Fi if you have to. Very rarely is there ever a call, text, email, Instagram story that is more important than the work that you need to get done in that period of time. Another thing that helps me is decluttering. Whether it's physically or mentally, decluttering is something that can take a lot off your plate and free up that mental RAM storage. If your desk is a visible mess, it can be hard to look away from. Just take care of it and get it clean. Or if you have too much on your mind, or you're trying to remember too many things, write them down so you can free up more of your headspace. Whatever you're doing to protect your flow time, make sure you do it aggressively. Flow research isn't a new idea, and by no means is it something that I came up with. We've all been in a state of flow at multiple times in our life. It's how we're able to achieve anything we really cared about deeply. But now, since we've identified what flow is, how to get in a flow state, and how to protect it, we can use it as a system to better our work and our lives. Flow has proven to increase your ability to observe the natural world, make you more creative, more productive, and therefore live a happier life. So my dear friends, let's flow harder than anyone's ever flowed before in the past. I love you.
So go on, lead the way. I won't be far behind.